Hello everyone, in this video I'll be explaining how to complete the grouping data exercise. So to start off with, we need to import our data set that we're going to be using. So we need to import pandas, and we need to use cd to navigate to our directory on M2. And then we can use the read CSV command with this input file name to read in the data set. And then I went ahead and made the speech lowercase and just to make sure we have the most accurate results possible. I didn't bother with splitting the text or removing punctuation or anything because it shouldn't affect the results of this assignment too much, but you can do that if you want. And then the congress.head to make sure it looks right, which it does. And then next, you're going to want to import the crime vocab list that we created in the WordNet notebook. Not the WordNet assignment, but the actual notebook that Dr. Goldie gave you. If you haven't exported that already, go ahead and just run that notebook, and wherever you save the file, go ahead and read it in. So you'll cd to whatever folder you saved it in, probably digital-history. And then you will do your read CSV with crime-vocab.csv. And once again, crime.head to make sure it looks right. So now for part one, using group by, count the number of times per month that Mr. Hatch spoke about crime. So to start off with, we're going to make a subset of the data, and that is only the speeches made by the speaker we're interested in. So for this assignment, you'll use Mr. Hatch, but I'll use Mr. Yates just so that I'll be using a different example. So to do that, you can create a new variable and say equal to Congress. So Congress of speaker is equal to Mr. Yates. So this will make sure that we only have speeches by Mr. Yates. And then this is what it should look like. All of these speakers are Mr. Yates. Now, in this cell, we're going to be counting the number of crime words in each speech. So we'll create an empty list here, which will contain all of our crime word counts. And then we'll loop through every speech in our new subset of data set. And we'll create a count and set it to 0 to start. And then we'll loop through each word in our crime words list, and in the word column of our crime data set. And we'll increment the count by however many times that word is found in the current speech. And then we'll append our count that we got to our crime words list that we created up here. And then that will be the number of crime words that we found in that speech, because it's basically the sum of how many times each crime word appears in that speech. And then we'll create a new column called crime words and set it equal to our crime words list. And then it might give you a warning like this. Don't worry about it. This is a warning, not an error, so it's fine. And when you look at the head of the variable, you'll see we have this crime words column now. And you can do this before on the entire Congress data set if you wanted, or before you made a subset, but it takes a long time to run on the full data set, so I'd recommend doing the subset first. So now we want to do our group by to take the sum of like the crime words for each month. So to do that, you can create a new variable and set it equal to our subset group by, and then the month year column, since that column has the year, the month, and it just has 1 for the date. And then dot sum, which means for each numerical column, it will take the sum of all of the rows that are being grouped together. And then yatesmouse.head will give us this. So we can ignore all of these columns because we don't care. These are just indices that are left over. We in a different circumstance, we might care about the word count, but not right now. We don't care about the year because we don't care about, or the month because we don't care about the sum of the year and month values. But this column is the one we care about, the crime words. This is the sum of the crime words column we created earlier for every speech made by our speaker in the given month year. So now you can cd into a folder that you want to export this data into, and you can do yatesmouse.tocsv and give it a name. so that this will export this entire thing, because this will only show you the top 5 rows. This will export every row into a CSV file so you can look at it in a bit more detail to do your analysis. Now for part 2, we're going to find the month in which Mr. Hatch spoke around about crime the most, or in my case, Mr. Yates. So to do this, we're going to sort our Yates months data frame by the crime words column. So I'll set Yates months equal to Yates months sort values. And then I put crime words here in quotes and square brackets, and then set ascending equal to false to make sure it goes from largest to smallest. And then when we do the head, here we can see that October 1991 has 279 crime words, which is the most by Mr. Yates. So now I'll create a new subset of the Yates data set that only has month year 1991 and October 1991. So this is what it should look like. So we can see year is 1991 and the month is October, and the speaker is Mr. Yates for all of these speeches. And now I'll sort these speeches by our crime words. So we can see that this speech here is the one with the highest crime words count. And now for part 3, I'm going to navigate to the speeches of Biden and Hatch in November 1993 and May in 1968 and May through June 1982, when we're going to look at what they were talking about and how was talking about crime different in these windows of time. And we can use any relevant strategies that we've learned. So we're going to create our list of speakers that we're interested in here, Mr. Biden and Mr. Hatch. And we'll create our month years that we're interested in here of November 1993, May 1968, May 1982, and June 1982. And then we're going to create a subset of our data set that has only speeches by Mr. Biden or Mr. Hatch and are in the given month years that we want. So to do that, we can create a new variable and set it equal to Congress and congress.speaker.isin, and then our speakers, the list we created here. So that'll only give you speakers not where the value is in this list. And then this and here, Congress some month year dot is in our months years or list. So it'll only give you rows where the speaker is in the speakers list and where the month year is in this month years list. So it should look something like this when you do it ahead. And now you can copy and paste our crime words creating cell that we did before to get our crime words count, except you want to replace your subset that you used for part 1 with your part 3 subset here, and as well as down here. And it'll give you the warning again, but you can just ignore that. And it should look like this. And you can export this to a CSV, same way we did before, so that you can analyze this further. And I'll let you do that analysis on your own. So that's all the code that you need to complete the grouping data exercise. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either myself or Dr. Goldie.